My name is Lara Robinson and I am a professional artist, and this is my studio. I predominantly focus on oil paintings. Anything inspires me, but I do a lot of portraiture, landscapes, still lifes, figures, and sporting paintings as well. My background is I sort of grew up in Cornwall by the seaside, so very inspired by the sea and the ocean. I moved to London in 2019. I finished all my studying and then set up as an artist in London. So I studied for 2 years at the Charles Cecil in Florence. It's a portraiture school and it focuses on oil paintings, learning from the masters. And so I did 2 years there and learnt a lot. They really take you back to basics. It's called sight size method, the method that you learn from. And I basically spent 2 years drawing there and wasn't allowed to touch paints. I then transferred and went to the Barcelona Academy of Art, where they teach the same thing, but they sort of also teach you how to be an artist, because obviously when you leave art school, it's quite difficult to learn how to be an artist and live as an artist. So they sort of were giving me the fundamentals of learning from the old masters, and I then got introduced to painting, but at the same time I was also learning how to be an artist and how to be commercial. So I did 3 years at the Barcelona Academy of Art and got my painting diploma there. Well, I pretty much started at quite a young age. I remember it being about sort of 7, and my grandpa actually took me out landscape painting. He was an architect and he was very into art, and I nagged him until one day he took me out, and I was sort of hooked ever since. And I honestly don't think I put a paintbrush down when I was younger. My mum then said to me, "Why don't you apply for an art scholarship?" And that's exactly what I did, not thinking I'd get it, and amazingly I did, to the school I went to. And I think it was just non-stop since then, and it's pretty much the only thing I can do, so here we are. Well, I'm sort of focused on oil paintings, and I would say that I've done a lot of landscape painting and portrait painting and still life, so I sort of, those are my specialities. But I very much like to experiment and branch out and sort of play and see sort of, how I can use those subject matters and push them. I really love the idea of movement in paintings and trying to capture, gesture. So I like to focus on different aspects within those subject matters, really. Some weeks I am really focusing on one big commission, and then other weeks I may have 3 paintings going at the same time. It's very dependent on my frame of mind and also what sort of projects I'm working on at that time. Visions for future projects. Well, I've started work on a new series which is all sort of, bar scenes around London, sort of night settings and all that sort of vibe. Sort of girls in cocktail dresses, men drinking martinis. So I'm sort of really excited about that, and got new inspiration. So I'll be working on that for the sort of next year. But my sort of visions for the future is just to sort of get bigger and better and more well known in my craft, really. One of my favourite artists is Mortimer. He just paints such beautiful artwork. It's the way he paints, the sort of technique he paints his figures and his even flower paintings, and there's a whole process. He scrapes, he layers, and just the way they end up being is just truly beautiful. He also manages to capture something in what he's seeing that no one else can see until he captures it and shows the viewer what he's sort of trying to show. Another really great artist is Tennant. Again, he does figures in scenes and people in life, and I think the way he captures movement and people in their own world is just fantastic. Well, the advice I would say is never be afraid to ask for help. I sort of think if you ask for help, you're already halfway there, because people are always so willing to help you. It's a tough industry being an artist, and if we can all help each other, it makes it a lot easier. So I would say that being number one. Number two is definitely believe in yourself, because if you believe in yourself, then you'll get others to believe in you, so others will invest in you. If you don't believe in yourself, then clients won't sort of be intrigued in your work. So you've got to believe in yourself, and sometimes that is quite hard because obviously we are our worst critics, but I think you've always just got to tell yourself you're good and it's going to be okay. We have ups and downs in this industry, and a down you always learn from. I've had times in my career where it hasn't gone as I'd hoped, but I've learned from that and then taken it on to my next show or my next piece of work. It's sort of a never-ending career of learning, and I think if you realise that, then you're always going to keep going forward. I was planning my first show in COVID, and I obviously had dreams that I was going to be able to have a room full of people with my first show. It was going to be the big, put me on the market, and COVID hit, and so I had to do my show. It was actually December 2021, and so I had to schedule people in, and in the end it worked out okay and I was incredibly happy, but obviously it wasn't how I'd hoped. So I guess it was sort of adjusting to the time and adjusting to what I needed to do. That was quite a big hurdle. I'd say another hurdle was my second solo show. Your first show, you get a lot of support, so it was a matter of getting new clients and me working that out, and actually my second show was so good for that, and I really learned how to then get new clients and get new audiences, and again that pushed me a lot, so that was something I learnt.